joining us on Thursday, but this is a nice small group, and that allows for a lot of interaction and a lot of time and attention. And hopefully, between now and next Thursday, you're going to feel really confident. You will feel well prepared to handle reservations as they come. I'm aware of how both of your operations work, and I'll give you a little bit of backstory, but I wanted to at least get started by saying good afternoon. Well, good morning to all of you still. And for those of you that don't know me yet, I'll give you a short introduction and get you all kind of kicked off here. We are recording this webinar so that you're able to refer to it later. We are together for a very short hour and 15 minutes for each of these 4 webinars. And what I will ask of all of you is to stay engaged and stay present to this very short moment. You will be amazed at how fast this time goes by. So in 75 minutes, we have a lot to accomplish, and I think that you're going to find it extremely rewarding by the end. So our 4-part webinar series here will have, starting today, we'll focus on mastering relationship selling. Next Thursday, we'll dive into when our guests speak, we listen generously. Webinar 3, which is next Tuesday, the 15th, it will be beyond rates, dates, and availability, how we customize that guest experience. And webinar 4, then next Thursday, will be how much? Overcoming objections and closing the sale. I'm Erica Cayley, President of Guest Service Solutions. I am delighted to be with all of you today. I know that I will have an opportunity to meet all of you at some point. I have partnered with East West Destination Hospitality for the past 18 years now in varying capacities. I provide a tremendous amount of the hospitality training, guest service training, skills training, as it relates to the guest-facing piece of the business. And to that end, I have also become extremely familiar with every call center that you have there, every reservation sales staff member. So I've worked with Monica Bridsnikova when she first started at Vail Spa. And KT and I were together last year when she just started her role as Director of Sales and Marketing at Snowmass Mountain Lodging. And I am also very familiar with the staff at Vail Spa Condominiums. And Jamie will be joining us here in a couple of days. He was out of town, but he'll be coming back. So my background is one that I'm hoping all of you will feel not only comfortable with by the end of today, but also feel like you can really use both Yolanda and myself as trusted advisors. To that end, I should introduce you as well to Miss Yolanda Martinez. She's our solutions coach who you've probably already connected with. She says hello.
Hello.
Yolanda is in Hilton Head and I am in Pittsburgh. So this is a wonderful way for all of us to be able to get together at the same time. And also what you'll find is we have already reviewed quite a few call evaluations. I want to share calls with you. Yolanda, as our solutions coach, is well versed in the mystery shopping side of things and the coaching side of things as well. So I'm sure she'll be able to provide some more skill building as it relates to selling effectiveness and how that ties in with your role in hospitality. So my hope for you is that you're going to get a lot out of that. I work with a lot of properties all over the United States. These are some of the selected clients that I've worked with in the past that have the Forbes 4-star and 5-star rating. That's important to you because East West Destination Hospitality specifically is more of a brand that's positioning itself upward into a more luxury realm. To that end, that type of guest has a very different expectation, and I want you all to be prepared for that expectation. I also have a very long history in the mountain destinations themselves. This is a list of some of the other mountain destinations that I've worked with in the past. So I'm hoping that you'll be able to use that experience to your benefit as well. I intend not to spend a lot of time talking. I want you to talk, and I want you to get to know each other, and I want you to practice the things that you want to practice. So by way of introduction, I'd like to give you all an opportunity to say hello, introduce yourselves. I have your names all here, but here's what I'd like, and I'll let you decide who goes first. Who are you? Where are you? Share your most valuable tip for making a great reservation. And what are your 2 objectives for this webinar series? Who would like to begin? Don't all jump up at once.
Jessa, you were first on. Oh, okay, great, Kimberly.
Hello, I'm Kimberly and
Hi.
I'm in Vail, Colorado. What was the next question?
So first question is, who are you? The second question is, where are you? So tell us a little bit about yourself.
I'm actually from Kentucky. I've been in Colorado for 2 years. Love it here. Don't plan on moving anywhere else. I'm pretty new to hospitality, but I think I'm gonna love it. I'm a people person, so anything to help people and make them smile, and they're coming for vacation, so they're hopefully happy, and I hope I can help make them happy.
I love that. So would you say those are your objectives? Or do you have other more clear objectives?
Sure, we can use those. Also, I think one of the questions was how to make a reservation easier. Is that correct?
Yeah, do you have a tip for all of us so far in your experience? Share your most valuable tip for making a great reservation. What have you picked up on so far?
I've learned that listening is very important, to listen to the customer and having that customer relationship, more of a personal one-on-one relationship with them.
Okay. All right. So I hear personal one-on-one relationship. Good. And what are your 2 objectives for this webinar series? What would you say they are?
I don't know. What would you say?
Well, what are you hoping to get out of this experience? We're together for 2 weeks, so I want to make sure that you get the most out of this that you can.
Yeah, since I'm pretty new to hospitality, basically anything I can out of this webinar is going to be great for me. Just how to make the job easier and the customers happier. So.
Okay, I'll take it.
Thank you.
Thank you. And I'm writing those down, and we will be touching them again. So I appreciate that. Who's next?
Me, Jessica. Or Eamon can go. Eamon can go. It's fine.
Okay, no worries. So
okay, Eamon, take it away.
So I'm Emmanuel. I'm in Vail, Colorado as well. I work with Kimberly as well, so we're here together.
So you're both at the Wren Condominiums, which is a sister property of Snowmass Mountain Lodging, Jessa?
Yes.
Awesome.
So about me, I was born in El Paso, Texas. One of the experiences that I have while working here with the Grin is my connection with the language barrier of Spanish. I don't know if I believe that's a point that I can use towards my benefits to grow better in this on this business, to be honest. I'm fairly new as well, and I'm willing to learn as much, especially trying to get that connection with guests, especially over the phone. Because I tend to get a little bit nervous, but I'm here to learn and get as much as I can in order to I can grow up.
Perfect. So it sounds like for you it would be helpful to learn more ways to say things, understanding what words and phrases maybe are most effective in selling.
Yeah, basically that'll be it. That's exactly what I would like to extract from here, trying to make that connection with the guest. And like, for example, I know what the business is, like my property is, but how to explain it and say it out loud without being hesitant and things like that.
Very good. Okay. We can do that. Thank you, Emmanuel. And Miss Jessa.
Hello, I'm Jessa Lee, and I am from the Philippines. I moved out to Colorado in 2015. My background is mostly front desk and guest services. So we do reservations as well at the front desk and all those. We do the selling there too, but my two objectives for this is pretty much how to apply my performance management and how I can also sell more and be more forceful. I guess I'm passive in a way that I don't force it onto other people to actually sell the product. Because when you know it too much, and it's like you pretty much get the gist of like getting too comfortable to the point that you just it's something that you know is going to sell anyway. So you don't. That's what I want to get out of this, is to get more information or get knowledge as to how to sell it, because there's going to be numbers involved, and that's something that I'm not very knowledgeable about. So
What do you mean by numbers involved?
I mean, because I think at the front desk, based on my experience, we don't really think about that. Making money isn't really something I would think about. My objective is to make the guest happy and deliver, great customer service above and beyond. But that's pretty much all you do. And I don't think I had to create myself and put myself into this type of sales shoes that I have to fill, and it's completely different. I mean, it's customer service is a part of it, but sales is another element to it, pretty much. So, yes.
Yes.
I talk too much.
It is another element to it, and it's also something, though, that someone who is very good on the guest services side of things finds that they are also very good in the sales side of things. So what we get to do today, especially today, is to kind of back into that idea and say, okay, Jessa, yes, you are very strong in the front desk environment, but let's talk about what happens before that sets you up to create a great experience, and then what you can do before that now at the point of sale to set up an amazing experience for your guests, as well as set up an amazing experience for your staff members, where they're feeling like their days are easier and it's more graceful, and that guests are thrilled to actually pay the amount of money that you're charging for these places, right? I mean, sometimes we look at the total and we want to choke on the $12,984. I can't believe I'm saying that out loud. But people are delighted to pay that when they're receiving the type of experience from you that they should be receiving. So your strength in the guest services side of things and the hospitality side of things will serve you well. And you won't feel like a cheesy used car salesman by the end of this 2-week webinar series. I promise you.
Exciting.
So what's your most valuable tip for making a great reservation?
My valuable tip, I would believe, is like the first answer that we had was creating a relationship with your guests. And because we've had based on my experience, people come with their children and great grandchildren, and because they know the people, that's why they come back, is because of the people and the service.
So true.
It could be the location.
Okay.
So
it can be. So I want to arm you all very well with the plan for today and how you're going to remember how important you are in the whole equation of creating a relationship with your guest. So the things I want to make sure that we accomplish today are that we really grasp your East West Destination Hospitality's value of the reservation function in and of itself. that you're appreciating your guests' true need for reservation sales. We think that we're order taking, and we're not. We're making a guest experience. So the better we can do that right now at the very first phone call, and the more we really get it, then the better experience we create all the way to the end until that guest leaves and is ready to make their reservation for next year. I want you to walk away feeling really comfortable that you understand the sales strategy that East West uses, and also get yourself familiar with your communication style and your flexibility. So in doing so, what I asked you all to do was to do a few things to prepare. So you should have a few things in front of you right now. The first is that you should have your vacation Salesforce process, which Yolanda sent you a upgraded, modified, very specific version for your own organizations yesterday. You should have your self-assessment, your 5-minute self-assessment completed by now. And if you have not yet emailed that to us, please do so. You can send that to Yolanda at guestss.com and Erica at guestss.com. You should also have the attached workbook that was sent over to you. We will focus today on pages 1 through 4, but what we asked you to do was to at least look through that and get familiar with it. And the fourth thing we asked you to do was to watch the video on, specifically on, I believe, telephone rapport, correct? So is everyone prepared up until that point?
Yes, ma'am.
Fabulous. Kimberly, Eman, are we good?
I believe so. Just need to.
All right.
Okay.
Excellent. So let's roll. And I will be as specific as I can. Here are some commitments to you that I'm making. I have all of your commitments here. Yolanda and I are committed to these. So I want to give you everything you can get to make your job easier and make that guest experience as awesome as it can be. Give you more ways that you can connect and overcome potential language barriers, and also give you ways that you can create a sale with guests with grace and ease. So we're committed to giving you ways to sell the way your guests want to be sold, to increase your product knowledge. It's not that you don't know your destinations. It's we want to be able to help you really formulate the phrases and words that are needed so that a guest gets what you're trying to tell them. Increase your conversion rates. By just getting a Salesforce process, you're going to feel so much better prepared. Your conversion rates will naturally improve. We'll see your booked folio averages improve considerably just because you are following a process. Ensuring prospective guests become loyal guests. Now, people at the Wren, guests at the Wren, a lot of them are timeshare guests, so we know that they're going to be coming back, right?
Yes.
We do. Yes, we do have a few guests, though, that are rental guests, and they might find you, and they might have been looking in Lion's Head, and suddenly they think, oh, I wonder what's going on over there at the Wren. Or they're a guest that usually stays at Vail Spa, and they were recommended to you. So we want them to become very loyal to you, and we want to give you ways to do that. I want to give you some tips and ways that you can decrease your selling cycle. So if we knock out one additional phone call because it's the guy that's like, hi, man, this is Eric, and I just have a few questions. We want to cut one of those calls out so that you can be more efficient and more effective. Yes, we love having conversations with our guests, but we want to make them efficient. So as we dive in today, my goal is that you're feeling really confident and you understand relationship selling very well. So here's the balancing act that we always have whenever a guest is calling us for the first time. They're trying to understand, why should I book the Wren? Why should I book at Snowmass Mountain Lodging at the Chalet? So that guest is going to have those unique the guest is going to have unique needs. What do they really want? And we are going to have unique offerings. It's what sets us apart from our competition. This is a constant balancing act that we have all the time. And if we're off balance, meaning we don't make sure that we share our unique product offerings, if we're not sharing the emotional promise properly, that experience can become broken before those guests even arrive. And sometimes those things are not even within our control. There are other things like turnover, like budgetary constraints that don't allow us the opportunity to make the renovation that we were hoping for. We have other gray market issues like VRBO and Airbnb getting in the way. We have maybe a travel agent that doesn't represent us properly. So we have this ability, whenever that guest calls us on the phone, to create the relationship. And it is by far one of the most important pieces of a guest experience when we're able to keep control of that. Now, it's no secret, though, that travel agents, for example, wholesalers, even people that you work with, they're all our customers as well. So there is a bit of a balancing act that's always going on. But today, I want us really thinking about our rental guests more than anything. But you're going to find that probably a lot of these things are going to translate over into just guest service in general. A study was done of guest behavior, and the research revealed that over 50% of a guest's experience comes from emotions created during a guest stay. So emotional drivers like warmth, excitement, and pleasure actually count more than traditional benefits like location and features. So Jessa, I'm going to ask you, how does this perhaps validate what you said earlier about how, Snowmass is great, but they really come to see you, don't they?
Yes, I actually, personally, firsthand, when you get to experience that with a guest, it changes it a lot. I mean, us in reservations, usually we're not able to see that, but having that firsthand, when you know the other side of it, the operational side is the guest would rather, the feel of it and the hello, the hi when they come in through the door, the 10-5 rule, when you're acknowledging their presence is a big thing, because it changes when your staff themselves have a bad day. It creates a whole new different experience, and it could ruin their day as well. So it's very powerful.
So what about millennials, though? I mean, you're all millennials. Does this matter as much?
Yes and no. From my experience, like sometimes you just don't really want to get bothered. But it's nice, like when I stayed at the Westin in Riverfront, and it was a completely different experience from back when it's different. I'm not going to mention any particular places, but when it's an actual Westin, you know that they abide to the standards, and how the calls from the concierge is a different touch. It's just the icing on the cake. That from reservations, from there, when it starts from the start to the finish, from their checkout process, is important, because they are going to call back and make another reservation, and that's another sale that you can keep, and that's a relationship that you can make. So
you're exactly right. So all the more reason why the reservation sales process is so valuable, because we're setting up the conditions so that those peak experiences, those amazing experiences, are more likely to occur. And that's the ability that we have. It's great that we know that the human element is the thing that is going to make that guest experience pop. That is also the thing that millennials desire to purchase. So studies show us that what matters the most in making a reservation specifically for a mountain destination experience is that planning is the most important part of the experience. And for high income earners, the experience becomes most important as long as it's a great experience with the least amount of hassle. So what that really means to all of us here is that if we don't make the experience great right at the point of sale, those guests, especially millennials, will look for reasons to say, this wasn't worth what I spent. This wasn't valuable to me. And so it's very easy for them to change their minds. So what we see in the mountain destination travel is that they are typically more high income earners. So these results, I think, mean a lot to us. 82% of guests agreed with both of these statements in this particular study. So when we sell luxury, and I know the Wren is not all luxury, so I'm quite aware of that, but I'm also quite aware of your type of customer. And it's the aspirational brand that East West, the lifestyle brand of East West, that they are going to eventually probably buy more if we can create a loyal guest out of that. So this is important to you, okay? Perceived value has to be a requirement. And we thank you, Ivan. I did hear you say yes. Thank you. Eliminate suggestions of commodity. You do not sell a commodity product. The Wren should not be sold. Yep, we have a 2-bedroom, 2-bathroom over that week, and it's $400 a night. Do you want to book that? That's a commodity sale that you just heard, and that's not how we sell the Wren. That's not how we sell anything as part of the Snowmass Mountain Lodging Collection. So the idea is that if we're differentiating our brand and we're selling it in a way that sounds unique to that particular guest, then we're relationship selling properly. So in selling luxury, the expectation is that we're thinking about more than just rates, dates, and space. It's about exclusivity, attention to detail, presentation, pleasure, recognition, self-elevation. So your benefit statements, when we get to that point, and that probably won't be until next Tuesday, but benefit statements are going to be pointing to that. So we'll come back to this idea. But for now, just know that this is kind of the direction that we're going to be going with our type of selling. Today, I want you to know that people call you because they want to talk to you. So help me explain that a little bit more, if you would, please. Any of you, Kimberly, Eman, Jessa. I can go online. I can find everything. I could even book online. So what do I need to talk to you for?
Well, I'm guessing it's more like a first interface with the customer, trying to see like what exactly I'm getting into, rather than anything else. Like, let me see if this is a good fit, if this is really what I am looking for. I believe it's we are the first sellouts. Like, if you, for example, if one is like so down and unexcited, what the customer will be, well, maybe this is not the fit for me. I want something like more vivid, something more that applies to my family, which they will have a great time. But if someone like ensures enthusiasm or shows like excitement for them to be there, that we are willing to listen to them, maybe they are more likely to be like, okay, well, yeah, this is more my fit. This is what I want. This is what my family wants to be at. I don't know. That's the way I see it. Correct me if I'm wrong.
No, I mean, let's ask. Kimberly, Jessa, true?
I agree.
I agree. I completely agree.
I think that they can ask more questions. It's more one-on-one, more personal, instead of just 2-bedroom, 2-bath, let's click for a week. You know, like he said, it's more vivid.
And also maybe more informative. Like, for example, maybe people are trying to say, well, I want the best experience ever and I want to take great pictures. So by calling you and you being knowledgeable of the area, the building, you'll be like, hey, I have this condo. It's on the first floor. Like, for example, on our place, it's right along the River Creek with a beautiful mountain view. If this is your first time, obviously this will be a great experience for you, like to show your friends, your family. So they will be more interested. Like, yeah, that's exactly what I'm getting to Vail for. Like, to have that experience, to have that image, to have that vivid uh, experience with you, and obviously trying to get that connection. So that would be for me a sellout that you can get through the phone and not getting it through online or anywhere else. So
Right on. I'm with you. I am with you, and it is so true. So now all of you are in the role of not just now creating the vision of the experience, but then when the guest arrives, you get to now deliver the vision of the experience too. So this is so important, I think, when we talk about relationship selling. It's about that partnership between the guest as well as the staff member. The relationship meaning I know you, I understand not just what you're looking for, I understand what even you didn't even say that you were looking for yet, to the point where I know how to exceed your expectations. And I'm buying the Ren because of my conversation with you, Iman. I'm not buying the Ren because it looked cool online. Yes, some people will do that, but most people, especially your first time guests, won't buy it that way.
Yeah, and a lot of
So
people, so like it's an advantage to be on site because they ask your personal experiences, like being in that, and that you see it and you actually know what you sell.
that is so true. We have had the opportunity with East West many times to say, maybe we should have offsite call centers. And we continuously have gone back to, nope, we need this. We need experts that are there in the destination, that experience it every day. They live it. They go to that grocery store. They take that hike. Those are the ones that are definitely going to be the ones that sell it better.
Personal,
So
oops, sorry.
go ahead, Jessa.
And I mean, it's like I try to put myself into a guest's shoes that you get more information when you're actually talking to an actual person, not like a robot or like, it's just different. So
That's it. So on page 3 in your workbook, you already had some of these detailed out, but I thought it was helpful to just remind you that 86% of people are going to buy from somebody that they like. And if you are likable, you're human, you're trustworthy, and then on top of that, you're able to be my guy. You're my favorite person in Snowmass right now, and you're my favorite person in Vail right now because you're helping me out. That creates what we call psychological safety. And when you have that psychological safety, then you're able to increase the likelihood of converting that call into a legitimate sale, but then also having a very happy guest to boot. So on page 4, at the bottom of page 4, you're going to see something that looks very similar to this. It's probably a mountain that's kind of blank. And I wanted to get you at least familiar with the idea of strategy. Because probably what happens right now is a guest calls in and says, hey, Jessa, this is Tom from Sacramento, and I just wanted to call and see what you had like for Memorial Day weekend, right? Does that sound familiar?
yes.
Yes. And you say, okay, so what exactly are your dates? And he gives you, and how many in your party? And then he gives you that. And then you say, okay, well, we have a 2-bedroom, 2-bathroom at Hayden Lodge. How does that sound? So while that's helpful, it's not very strategic. And there is, in fact, a method to the madness. And the better you understand the strategy and the why behind what you're doing, then the higher the likelihood is that that call will convert into a sale. Maybe not today, but maybe tomorrow. And maybe when you call back the next time. So I want to give you what I expect to hear in a call if it's being handled strategically. So you're going to see sort of 3 different parts to a reservation sales call, and you're going to see kind of an upward and a downward. Are you able to see my little arrow moving when I do this? Do you see my arrow?
Yes. It's pretty
Yeah, okay. I just want to make sure that I'm not thinking you can see it when you really can't. Yeah. So, okay, here we go. I have my little red dot now. And so with these three parts, you're going to see just like a mountain. You have a base of a mountain. It's big. What happens at the base of a mountain, ladies and gentlemen? At the base of a ski area, what's going on?
Everyone's getting ready to ski. Get on
You're
the
getting
list.
ready. Yeah, you're eating breakfast. Oh, I don't have the right gloves. I need to get my lift ticket. What else do I need? How do I get from here to there? Let's look at the map and decide where we're going to go today, right? So you're setting yourself up for success for the day. So I see that this base as being kind of the same thing, and you can think of it in those same terms for a sales call. Mid-mountain, this is the idea of matching the product to the caller, matching the right idea to the right guest. So this means that you're going up the mountain, right? So when you're going up the mountain, you're still looking at the trail map. I think this is the direction I want to go. I may not ultimately end up here. In fact, I might look at the trail map, or when I get up there, I might find a mountain host that directs me to something better because he knows that I will kill myself if I go down that one. So mid-mountain at least is, let's go with this idea, and it's a way that we sort of qualify ourselves. Can you see that analogy sort of in your head? Okay, and then at the peak, it's when we make a decision. So we go with that, okay, this is the best recommendation that we have. So then when we come back down the mountain, you go back mid-mountain. And as you're going, well, I liked that, or I didn't like that run. That was too hard. Let's not do that one next time. Or what's a different way that we can go? Or this is way too bumpy for me, and I think I have to go somewhere else. So you're taking a look at it maybe from a different perspective coming back down the mountain. Once you have kind of committed to where you're going, you get back to the base. And back to the base, again, you're retooling, or you're thinking forward to your next experience, whatever that experience might be. So I like this mountain visual because I need pictures in my head. And this tells me a couple of different things. One is it tells me that if we don't prepare right at the base down here, then we aren't able to make the right recommendations as we move up. So relationship selling starts right here at the base. What you also see here for mid-mountain is that we're not just selling rates, dates, and availability. We're selling the destination. So people haven't already necessarily bought Vail. They haven't already necessarily bought Snowmass. They could still go to Aspen. They still could go to Breckenridge or Tahoe. So we do still have to match, like I think Snowmass would be perfect for your family. Since you've never gone to a ski resort for a summer vacation, you have to be thinking about Vail. This is the coolest place to come for the summertime. And then you get to paint the picture of the Wren condominiums, the building, the accommodations. And it is different summer to winter. So being that this is a summer webinar series, we will be thinking more in terms of that, but it's still a mountain vacation. So keep that in mind. If there's a package, if there's a special, then that gets stated. You make the match, the right product to the caller. You start with something. That doesn't mean you're committed to it. And then you ask for the sale. Gain at least some sort of a level of commitment to that idea. Then when you come back down the mountain, you're overcoming those objections. You're asking for objections. So how do you like this option? Does this sound like a good fit? Give me some feedback. What are you thinking about this? You secure some level of commitment from that guest. So if it's that we're going to talk on Thursday, if it's we're going to make a reservation, if it's I'm going to send you a quote and follow up with you, whatever the case may be, some level of commitment, or else you're wasting your time. So it shouldn't be, okay, thanks, Bob, for calling, and if you change your mind, call us back. That's not a level of commitment. Securing reservation details, that's hopefully if you've actually made a reservation, of course. If there are any add-ons, I'm thinking travel insurance specifically. If you do book ground transportation, I know some locations do. You're going to detail out next steps, things to expect. So from here, you're going to expect an email, and that will consist of this, that, and the other thing. You'll be hearing from our concierge, who's going to reach out to you in advance to make sure that you have your dining reservations and your bike rentals secured. So next steps then come. So that way you're setting them up again for that next experience. Where are they going to go next time to go back up? And then, of course, ending that call professionally, creating anticipation for the upcoming trip. So this is the strategy as I see it laid out. Another key thing to think of with this is that you cannot ask for the sale until you've done what?
Everything
What do you
else.
think? Yeah, until you've done everything else here. I can't ski down the mountain unless I get up the mountain. So the way I see it is that if we don't build the right base and we haven't created trust and we haven't created psychological safety, they aren't going to believe us when we say, I think this would be a great fit for your family. Okay, who has the first question about the sales strategy itself, the logic behind it?
I know a lot of times the question that I get when we're doing coaching sessions is, so I've I've qualified my guests, I've gotten to know what their group is like, what they're looking to do while they're here, and I've really, developed this great rapport with them. I'm afraid to ask. I'm afraid to ask. How do I ask?
Yeah. So assuming that you've done all of this and you've checked off the boxes in your head, I know that they trust me. I know that they like me. I know that I've made it really easy for them. And I know that I've really told them exactly why the Wren is the best fit for this vacation. Then at that point, my immediate advice is that you have earned the right and they called you. So there are very few wrong ways to ask. I would just start with some sort of a trial close. And a trial close can sound something like, how does that sound to you? Share with me your thoughts on that. Are you interested in making a reservation today? What kind of timeline are you looking at in terms of when you want to secure this reservation? So it could be something like that gets you to the point where you would feel comfortable saying, okay, today's the day I ask, or maybe I have to ask in 2 days. But either way, you have to gain some level of you have to ask. And we'll tell you why with some actual statistics, probably in webinar number 4.
So
Who has the next question? Yes.
So, for instance, you have, like what Yolanda said, you gain the trust, you build the relationship. To what extent can you, keep following up and asking them, what's the limit to that? To saying you're not annoying as a salesperson, you're not very pushy and forceful, and you're still, saying, hey, we would love to have you here, and not just be like a piggy bank, like you just you're not just another dollar that we need to make. How do you make them feel that it's not like you're not like that?
So the biggest way to do that, I just put my red dot next to overcoming objections, is pulling out those objections, saying, tell me what your objections are. I'm hearing some hesitation from you, and it sounds like that really has to do with the fact that you still need to connect with your brother. Am I getting that right? So I'm sitting on that person's side of the table instead of feeling like I'm sitting across from the table. So then I can have some other conversations. And to your point, Jessa, I think you're going to want to have a good formula for how you overcome objections on a regular basis. Is that right?
Okay, yeah.
Yeah. So there is the key thing. I think sometimes we think the only objection we get is about price, and that is such a fallacy. They are not objecting to the price. Guests never actually object to the price. What are they really objecting to?
The service that, yeah, it's not reaching what they expected it to be, I guess.
Yes, yes. So I have high expectations when I spend $12,498 on something. Sorry, I do, right? We all do. We all do. I mean, some of our cars aren't even worth that much. So when I spend that kind of money, I'm expecting that I'm going to get a great experience with the least amount of hassle as possible. So if I'm not getting the great experience, then I'm going to complain about the hassle, and I'm going to say, well, it just wasn't worth it for what I paid. I had to work way too hard at making that reservation happen to begin with. So the stronger we can build our base so that we're able to uncover objections, expect objections, that we're inviting them, we're anticipating them, and that we're also making sure that we truly do understand that guest's needs, then we increase the likelihood of converting. So strategically, you have to build a strong base first. Then you have to create value next. You cannot answer the phone and give your dates. Sorry, you can't answer the phone, share the dates, and then ask for the sale. You can't. So that's the number one place where most reservation salespeople get stuck, because they go into this continuous loop of garbage, and then that sabotages everything else. So yeah, Jessa, you're gonna have guests that you feel like, how many times should I keep asking? Until. And we're going to give you so many different ways that you can ask where you don't feel like you're hounding and badgering and pushing, but you're helping them to solve problems. Does that help?
Yes.
All right. So we're going to start at the base today, and I think the biggest thing about the base is there are four key pieces there. Look at this big sad gray cloud up here, right? Trepidation. This is how the guest is feeling as soon as they pick up the phone to dial. I've already looked online. I didn't find what I was looking for. I already punched in my dates. It said that something was unavailable. Who are these guys anyway? Snowmass Mountain Lodging, they weren't East West before, so what are they now? Wait a minute, I thought the Wren was a timeshare. So what is this place exactly? Is this legit? Am I calling a number with a legitimate business person on the other end of the line? Listen to all of this like junk. What are other things that you think guests are thinking about before they even call you?
I think they're worried. They don't have the security of, their plans are not secured yet. They have a fickle mind, and you can, that's something that you can work on.
Okay. Kimberly, Eman, what are other things you think they're thinking about before they even call you that create trepidation?
I think everybody just wants their expectations to be met. They don't want to call a call center to make reservations with somebody that's not even on the site or doesn't know about the site. I think knowledge is pretty important in making that relationship with them. So, yeah, I think they just, like I said, their expectations to be met.
Excellent. Eman, anything else?
Like, well, I'm to be unsure.
Trepidation.
Basically, they're just thinking about basically, like Kimberly said, their expectations to be met. Obviously, not many times when they call, they're like, well, this is exactly what I am looking for. Obviously, price might be one of them, but also the experience, how far this place is location wise, also the recommendations to it, how legit this place is. I guess those are all also for trepidation that the customer might create before calling, and those may be some obstacles as a salesperson, but and we just have to like learn how to overcome them and break through them.
Yes. So a lot of that happens almost literally in the first 2 minutes of a conversation. So if we think of it that way, think of the 4 key things that have to occur so that I know you, like you, and trust you, and that you are among the 86% of people, or that I am one of those people that buy from people that I like, right? So there has to be a strong opening, which means a strong greeting. You have to take out the mental garbage, which means you have to help me walk through or get rid of some of this junk that's already in my head, which means you need to make a few assumptions about what I'm coming to the table already with. So you have to talk about the cloud and get ready to say, oh, I'm so glad you called. We're right here in the heart of Vail. I'm here right now. I'm looking out my window. It's a gorgeous sunny day, and I was already mountain biking today. And they're going, really? Tell me more. I can't wait because I want to be there. I want to do that. I want to do what you do every day. So that
There for a second.
Until I'm in the office. Right. So that trepidation has to be talked about by you. And the faster you get ahead of it and get in front of it by addressing, we're Snowmass Mountain Lodging. Yes, we've been around for a while, but we are definitely under new management, and it has been fantastic since we have now become part of the East West family, because we've made some great investments in technology, in the product. Our guests are thrilled with what we've been up to. And I'm saying this for real because I know KT has shared quite a few testimonials with me. But that's true, huh, Jessa?
I think also, like she and I talked about this yesterday, that she was going to help embrace the brand more and what we believe in as a company, because you need to have the sense of, you have to have pride in where you work in, you know, and you can't sell something if you're not happy with where you're at or where you're working. So.
No, you cannot. So I think when we get into creating value, I want us to be thinking about how we're tying that piece in. You need to know your guest, and you need to know the way that they want to be communicated with. So that means as well that we have to think about how we're qualifying that guest. So it's not, what are your dates? How many are in your party? Where are you calling from? Okay. There's a lot more to it. And on Thursday, we'll give you some good qualifying questions. I want you to review your Salesforce process before Thursday so that you're getting familiar with the qualifying questions that are going to be most valuable to you. The ultimate goal, though, is when you feel like you've reduced the buying tension through taking the 2 minutes to do this properly, then a couple of things have happened there. You have created that know, like, and trust factor, and you've probably also identified how they like to be communicated with, right? So give me some examples of ways that you think guests like to be communicated with. Some guests like to control the conversation, right?
They do. Well, some of them already know what they want, and some of them also are asking for more information for them to lock in what they want. So I guess there's like that gray area that we can come in and take advantage of.
What else? What are other ways that we know guests like to be communicated with? Some people like a lot of information and some don't.
Would like to be emailed. Some like it's a more personal thing when it's not a template, And, you know, some of them are busy, so they want to just do it at their own time. And they'll just call you back whenever they are available. So I think emailing them, I mean, having to have actual, you know, thing to read and look at is also a personal touch.
It is a personal touch that never replaces you. And I think that's a thing that a lot of salespeople get in trouble with is, oh, here, let me email you a quote. And then they never hear from that guest again. And then they go, I wonder why. I don't know why I never heard from them again. Because you didn't sell anything. All you did was give them rates. And then they went and they shopped it around and they found something cheaper. So that's not selling. That's, you want value meal number one.
Something that's so important when I call anywhere, whether it be a customer service line or to make a reservation somewhere, is that they can make a connection with me and tell me something that I'm going to experience when I'm there. For example, if I were to call you Jessa, or if I were to call you Kimberly, or Eman, and I would say, you know, I have kids that are going to be traveling with me, but I'd also like to have an adult night out. And you say, there is the best steakhouse, if that's what you were thinking. Something that can make me myself in the moment is really important. Whether we don't have a lot of time to talk and I ask you to email me a list of places maybe, or I am on the phone with you. It's so important that I'm seeing myself there, right?
Well, how do you make it more personal? And like from what I said, like most of them wanted it. If you email them and then they look online anyway to find a better rate. I mean, obviously it's not you. You don't take it personally that, you know, you didn't write a better email or you didn't add something that's more, I mean, I don't know how to explain it, but how do you like make it as to how personal can you get in that sense when you're emailing a quote or emailing your favorite restaurant? And
Yeah. Well, let's back it up first, because I think if we give you a couple of additional tools, the answer may come in a different way than the way you're asking for that answer. Is that okay?
fine.
Yeah. Okay. So are you able to see my screen now, everyone? Do you see the mountain again?
Yes.
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 Fabulous. Okay. So I'm going to ask you to pull out your pre-event assessment. So it was the one where I asked you to mark 4s and 3s and 2s and 1s and add up columns and the totals on the bottom. Do you have that?
Yes.
Fantastic. So I think one of the biggest ways, Jessa, that you can answer that question is to understand the way that perhaps people perceive the way you communicate first. And the type of a conversation that you're trying to create is not always the conversation that they're maybe receiving the way that you want them to receive it.
Right.
So this quote, I think, is very telling. It's when two people meet, there are 6 people present. There's each man as he sees himself, each man as he wants to be seen, and then each man as he really is. So if you and I are in a conversation and you're selling me something, I'm going to say yes more often to you if I feel like it's an authentic conversation. So when we're creating an authentic conversation, whoa, that was odd. What do you see?
Right now we're looking at the workbook and.
Okay, so I'll let that decide what it wants to do. But when we're all together, I don't know what just happened there, but that's okay. When we're communicating with someone else, they may not necessarily be receiving the information the way that we want them to receive it. But if we're having an authentic, real conversation, then we're going to increase the likelihood that that information will get received the way we want it to. So I wanted to give you this communication style assessment so that you were starting to perhaps get a vibe for how people see the way that you communicate. And we're going to expand on this even more on Thursday, but I want you to at least start thinking about these different types of people, these different communication styles that you may be exposed to, so that you know what they're listening for when they talk with you, and what you can say and what you can do to increase the likelihood that they're going to understand what you're really trying to communicate. So for the ease of conversation, you're going to see 4 separate columns there, and each column will be represented by a color. So circle the value at the bottom of your 4 columns. That's the highest. You got it? Do you have a column that's the highest, everybody?
Yes.
Great. Okay. So if your first column is your highest, then you are a green communicator. If your second column is your highest, you're blue. If your third is highest, you're yellow. And if your fourth is highest, you are red. So I'm going to take a guess here just for a second. I'm guessing. Okay, tell me what you got, everybody. Jessa, what's your communication style?
I'm a yellow.
Emmanuel, Eman, what's your communication style?
I'm a green.
A green, okay. And Kimberly?
I think I'm yellow.
All right.
Okay.
3 for Team Yellow.
Okay, here's what I put. I put Kimberly blue/yellow, Emmanuel green, Jessa yellow.
Pretty close.
Pretty
That
accurate.
was my gut. That was my gut. I think when Jamie joins us on Thursday, I think he will be a blue communicator. So what does all this mean? And Jessa, I'm going to tell you right now that KT is a red communicator. So you need to know that, and I'll tell you why. So your red communicators, they are hard workers. They're very committed. These are the ones that are sending you emails at 3:30 in the morning and you're going, why aren't you asleep? They like to be in charge. They like to take initiative. Sometimes they don't even know what they're taking charge of. They're just fine with being the point person or in that leadership role. It doesn't mean that they aren't effective. It just means that they're not afraid of a challenge more than anything. They like to, they will, if they find an opportunity, they will seize it, or they will make an opportunity. So these might be the kinds of people that say, you know what we could do to fix that? You know, it would be an even better idea, or I think I have a solution that'll work for that. And they're great at coming up with the fix, the right solution. They will ask the question that nobody else wants to ask. So they'll be the kind of guest that'll say, can I get a discount for that? If I write you a check, can you give me 20% off for that? And you're like, who does that? Who negotiates like this? They do. And so think as well about red communicators as guests. I mean, I think in the interest of our next 5 minutes here, it's important for me to get as much of this to you as I can. And we'll continue this on Thursday, but I want you to at least know this. And we're going to send you a handout that has this as well. Red communicators are going to push you. They're going to push you and they'll interrupt you, and they'll say things like, I just want the rates. And they'll say things like, does it matter what my name is? They'll say things to you like, all I wanted to do was just to have you email some information to me. So they can be the ones that are kind of pushy, kind of disciplined, unless you're creating value for them. And you're saying things to them like, it's important for you to talk with me personally because I'm the one that's going to be able to get you the best view. I'm the one that's going to be able to ensure that you get the residents that you're really looking for. They are task oriented, so when they call you, they're typically calling you at the end of their day because you were on their checklist. They love checklists. They would rather get it checked off of the checklist than have it done right. And this drives E-Man absolutely crazy because E-Man wants it to be done right. Huh.
Yep.
Yeah.
He agrees. Okay.
But I super love checklists.
So,
They're awesome.
Jessa, you love checklists?
Yes, I do.
I love
Yeah.
checklists too.
I have like 5 checklists running on a regular basis, and they're all like cross-coded. So with red communicators, they have a specific way they want to be sold to. They seem bossy, but they're really not. They're disciplined, they're action oriented. If you're not adding value and giving me something more than what I could have found online, you're worthless to me. And they're not saying that to be mean. They are very nice people, but time is money to them. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Can you think of a red guest?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. And I'm going to ask all of you to think of these guests. And if you're able to come up with some call recordings, the Ren, I know you probably won't be able to, but if you can at least think of some guests and share stories, that would be great. Jessa, I am going to ask you to pull down some call recordings, okay?
Okay. Okay.
Fabulous. So I want names. Yellow communicators. Okay, so this is Jessa and Kimberly and Yolanda. These are our happy, fun party people. They're awesome. They love to talk and talk and talk and talk. And if you're not talking about their dog and about their kids and about what they had for lunch, they get really kind of annoyed with you. They want to have that personal conversation with you. And these calls can last for 45 minutes easily. And unless you keep this guest focused, you could end up talking about learning how to knit and pulling up YouTube videos to learn how to knit. And you're going, how did we get on knitting when I'm trying to make a reservation? I don't understand. So they're absolutely wonderful, and they're great as salespeople because they're so colorful and they have big ideas and they're super flexible and they're willing to take on your recommendation or your suggestion. And you speak with authority and you're confident and you really want to find a good solution. Where it becomes a problem, though, is when the idea is so big and then you forget to execute. So sometimes they will lack on execution. So the yellow guest is the one that when you're online with them and you're looking at something at the chalet, Jessa, and then they go, ooh, what's that over here? What's this Hayden Lodge? That's amazing.
Oh my.
And you're going, but I'm talking about this right now because I know that. And so in your head, you're going, why aren't you doing what I said to do? And that's because their minds are going, they're creative. They just want to kind of jam with you and see where it goes. And so you really have to kind of put the blinders on the horse a little bit with these and ask for opinions and feelings and say, okay, well, how do you feel about this one? Give me some feedback. I handpicked this option for you because you had indicated to me that having something that would allow the entire family to sit around in the morning and enjoy breakfast was critical. So I really like this option, but tell me maybe what is on your mind. So they want that give and take. They want that chat. Blue, these are our sweethearts. They are so polite. They are very social. They're the best team players. They're not all shy. They can act introverted, but they're not. They're the most charming. They're the best listeners. If you don't like a blue communicator, you have no soul. They are just, it's true. You know who's a blue communicator in your world? Monica.
Yep.
True, right?
Yes,
Yes, absolutely.
If you don't like Monica, you have no soul.
I agree.
Man, I hope you guys like Monica.
I will now. Oh,
That's funny.
they're so sweet and they're so flexible and they'll take the time with you. And when they call you on the phone, they're the ones that say, "Hi, I hope if it isn't too much trouble, I was wondering if you might have any time to tell me if you have anything available. And if there's something better, someone better to talk to, that's fine. I'm totally willing to wait." They're almost apologetic about calling you and you're going, "That's my job. That's what I'm here for." So they're so sweet and so flexible almost to a fault. They will always put your needs, your well-being, and your happiness before their own.
Erica,
So they can.
I'm feeling
Huh.
a little soulless. That guest portrayal just got on my nerves. Like, would you just hurry up?
Who is she? And believe it or not, they do call. But when they call, these are the ones that are very quiet because they're listening to what you have to say and they're waiting for you to generate a two-way conversation with them.
Yes.
And if you don't get personal with them and ask questions and say, "So tell me about you and what's making you," why are you shaking your head?
If you don't, they're not going to give you anything.
They won't because they weren't asked to. They hate conflict. So these are the guests that at the end of the call, if they don't hear what they wanted to hear, they say, "Okay, thank you, bye." And you're sitting there going, "What just happened? I thought I thought we were making a reservation." So they can, if they don't hear what they needed, and if you didn't build the base properly, remember, if you don't build that right, you lose them. They're gone. So they're sweeties, and you have to be extra sweetie with them. Okay, Eman, last one, and then you have some work to do. Form, function, task, policy, procedure. If it isn't written down, it doesn't exist. And this is Todd. So Todd likes order. Todd likes organization. Todd likes to have a procedural manual for things. Most green communicators, and correct me if I'm wrong, Eman, they're very disciplined about time.
Yes.
Yes? Do you like details?
I like details, being on time. I always try to be there a little bit early, just in case something happens.
Uh-huh. Yep.
Ouch.
Yep.
It's scary how accurate these are, really. In my world, anyway.
I agree.
Well, this is Yolanda's husband, and so she looks at this and she chuckles because she's married to that.
Yes, I.
So when Brian calls to make a reservation, he's the guy that says, "Hi, I'm just calling to gather information. I've already been online and I've already looked at all of the TripAdvisor reviews that I could possibly pick through. And I have the statistical analysis of all of those user reviews. And so I know exactly that this is the place I want. So I'm just gathering information."
This is my time away from that, Erica. Yes, I know. I'm going to hear it. Trying to pick a holiday dinner is like, no.
Oh, forget it.
All the ins and outs.
Yeah, so green communicators are the ones that they can't make a decision to save their lives, though. So they need somebody, and man, I'm sorry if this is insulting, but it's because you think so much about the details that you can go into analysis paralysis with that. Like, I don't know what the answer is, but I know all the data is right here to have the answer. Here.
Thinkers, huh?
What?
True.
Overthinkers.
Now,
Yeah.
Eman,
They're
I want
overthinkers.
you to know, Eman, that you're not alone. This is also Erica. It's not just you and my husband. It's Erica too.
Oh, there you go.
Okay, I'm starting to feel alone, like being attacked. I'm here. It's all right.
Well, actually, this is my second color. This is my first color.
Oh,
And so I get a bad rap for being bossy, for being intense, for being, kind of results focused. I can hound people. And a green communicator will do that in a different way, more like a Rain Man. Like, you said 12 o'clock. It's 12 o'clock. It's now 12 o'clock. So I thought we were supposed to be doing this at 12 o'clock. I'm ready. It's 12 o'clock. And everyone's looking at them like, calm down, man. It's okay. So as a guest, these guests, they know what they want.
Right.
They will probably make that reservation online, Jessa, and that's okay. They're calling you to just get the pros and cons. They're calling you to be right. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. So here, and they will probably say things like that. And it's okay if they're saying, well, according to the Weather Channel, it says that you've got 6 inches of snow. Like, do you want to argue with him about that? Or do you just want to let him say, yeah, well, I heard that we're supposed to get snow. I haven't seen it yet, but that's the forecast. Yes. So when it comes to asking for a sale, you probably won't get it right off the bat from them.
Right.
They want a couple of calls with you.
Okay.
So you'll use a different closing technique with them.
Right.
All right. So do you feel like you have a vibe for these 4 different communication styles, everyone?
It's I think I'm an orange. You mix yellow and red.
There you go.
You know.
I think
And
you're
it's
an
my favorite
orange.
color, so.
Yeah. So I want us to put this into our sales world, put our sales hats on between now and Thursday, and I want you to find one guest of each of these communication styles, or at least do your best to find a couple of them. So not 7 minutes. I want this to be your work for Thursday. Choose at least one hot lead to discuss. So something that you're working on right now. And I also want you to find for one of each. So I want a guest name for each of those 4 different communication style categories. Because when you can tailor your style to more effectively communicate the message the way somebody else would prefer and not the way that your own style prefers, that's where your true colors really do come out. And it enables you to talk in terms of other people's interests and not just your own. Okay, so your work, you're going to pick a hot lead that you're working on. You're going to find 4 guests, 1 from each color. Okay? And then we'll have pages, I believe 5, 6, and 7 for you to preview. Because on Thursday, we're going to be talking about when guests speak, how we listen generously. So again, we're going to start at 1 o'clock. I will end on time, I promise you. So when our guests speak, listen generously, we'll start at 1 o'clock Eastern, so that's 11 o'clock Mountain, and we'll end at 12:15 Mountain. Does that sound like a good plan, everyone?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. In the meantime, be on the lookout for an email from Yolanda with some follow-up for you, just to recap all of this for you. And what we'll also make sure that you have is access to the recording. So if you want to go back and take a look at any of this at a later date, you're more than welcome to. Sound good?
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. And reach out to us if anything comes up between now and then, okay?
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye, guys. See you next Thursday.
See you
Next
soon.
Thursday. Be there.
I'm not going to talk as much anymore, I promise.
Yes. Have to.
No, you need to. This is for you. This is for you.
Okay.
Okay.